Have you ever met someone and known, deep down, that their story must be told? A story that reminds you of the quiet strength people possess and the incredible, life-changing power of a single act of kindness. I experienced just that, and this is their story. It's about two young boys, a city that was both tough and beautiful, and one single moment that would go on to change absolutely everything for them. Our story begins on what started as a completely normal day, unfolding under the brilliant and hot sun of Accra, the vibrant capital city of Ghana, a place full of life and untold stories. Imagine two twin brothers on a bustling street corner in Accra. They were selling their only toy, not for candy or for fun, but for a reason that would break your heart. They were doing it to save their mother's life. They stood on the hot pavement, their small hands holding up a worn-out wooden car, desperately hoping for a miracle to happen. They truly believed that no one was watching them, but they couldn't have been more wrong. The city of Accra pulses with its own powerful and undeniable rhythm. The air constantly hums with thousands of conversations, the persistent sound of car horns, and the infectious beat of high-life music. On this particular day, along the busy Kwame Nkrumah Avenue, you could see the heat rising from the asphalt in visible waves. In the middle of this beautiful, chaotic scene stood two small boys who seemed almost entirely swallowed up by the massive river of people that was constantly flowing past them, yet they stood their ground with quiet and resilient determination that was hard to miss. They were identical twins, perhaps 7 or 8 years old, named Kofi and Kwame. They shared the same bright, curious eyes and a determined look, made even more apparent by their matching Adinka print shirts. The traditional symbols on the fabric represented wisdom and strength, which felt fitting, as those very qualities seemed to be in a quiet battle against the dust and palpable tiredness that clung to their small frames. They were a portrait of unity, facing the overwhelming city not as two individuals, but as a single unbreakable team. In their small hands, they held their most prized possession. It was a simple, hand-carved wooden toy car, far from new or shiny. This was a toy clearly made with love, its edges smooth from countless hours of play. The paint was chipped and one wheel wobbled, a testament to its history as the centerpiece of their childhood adventures. Yet, they presented it to the world with immense pride, much like a jewel would display a flawless diamond for all to see and admire, for it was the only thing of value they owned. These boys were not playing a game. Their voices, though small, were clear as they called out to passers-by. Toy car for sale, a very fast car. Many people rushed past, utterly lost in their own worlds and oblivious to the small drama unfolding on the sidewalk. A few offered sad, fleeting smiles that held no promise of help. Some, dressed in colorful Kent cloth, paused for a moment as if admiring their youthful spirit before moving on, carried away by the city's current. Despite the constant stream of rejection, the twins' hopeful smiles never once faltered. They met every single disinterested glance with the same unwavering look of hope, their belief that the very next person might be the one they were waiting for remaining completely unshaken. Behind those brave smiles, however, was a truly desperate story. Their mother, Accra, a single parent who worked tirelessly for them, had fallen gravely ill and the medical bills were piling up, becoming a crushing weight on their small family. They made a difficult decision, taking their most valuable possession to trade their cherished memories for a chance to save their future. As the sun climbed higher into the sky, casting short shadows on the hot pavement, a vehicle pulled over a short distance away from the boys. It was a luxury sedan, its black paint polished to a mirror-like shine that seemed almost alien in this environment. The car's expensive and pristine appearance was a stark contrast to the raw, unfiltered energy of the surrounding street. From inside, behind the heavily tinted windows that shielded its occupant from the world, a man sat quietly watching the scene unfold with intensity that suggested more than passing curiosity. His name was Mr. Mensah, a self-made man who had built a business empire from absolutely nothing, and was now the owner of one of Accra's most successful restaurants. He was accustomed to a life of luxury, to the feel of expensive suits and the quiet, powerful hum of a fine-tuned engine. From inside the cool, leather-scented interior of his car, he continued to observe the two young boys on the street, his usual business concerns momentarily forgotten as he focused entirely on them. He didn't just see two children selling a simple toy. He saw a powerful and moving portrait of true resilience. He noticed the details that others miss. Their perfectly matching shirts, the subtle, encouraging glances they shared with one another when their spirits began to sag, and the way Kwame would instinctively adjust the toy in Kofi's hand to display it better to the unseeing crowd. He even saw them share a tiny piece of saved roasted plantain, a minuscule treasure they meticulously split perfectly in half, their bond undeniable and deeply touching. The world outside his car window was one he knew intimately from his own past, a world that was a universe away from his current life, but forever etched into his memory. It was a world defined by struggle, by the gnawing ache of uncertainty, and by the heavy burden of making impossible choices just to be able to survive another day. The sight of the two boys was not just a scene of poverty. For him, it was a visceral reminder of where he had come from. He could have easily driven away, dismissing the scene as just another part of the city's harsh reality. He could have simply handed them a few bills through his window and continued with his day, feeling a fleeting sense of charity. But he chose not to. Instead, he remained parked, watching as the minutes ticked by, deeply lost in thought. A man who seemingly had everything was watching two boys who had almost nothing, and a pivotal, life-altering moment was about to unfold. Finally, the car door opened with a quiet, expensive click, and Mr. Mensah stepped out into the blinding sunlight. He was an impressive figure, tall and dressed in a finely tailored suit that clearly communicated immense success and authority to anyone who saw him. As he began to walk towards the boys, the constant, chaotic street noise seemed to momentarily fade into the background. Kofi and Kwame froze mid-sentence, their sales pitch caught in their throats as they watched the imposing man get closer, a mixture of fear and deep curiosity reflected in their wide eyes. He stopped directly in front of them, his large shadow falling over their small frames, momentarily shielding them from the intense sun. He didn't look down on them with an air of superiority or pity, but instead, he did something that immediately put them at ease. He crouched down, bringing himself to their level so he could look them directly in the eye, acknowledging them as equals. "Hello," he said, his voice surprisingly gentle and warm, completely devoid of intimidation. "That is a very fine car you have there." Kofi, the bolder of the two twins, swelled with pride at the man's comment and held the worn-out toy out for him to inspect. "It's for sale, sir. It is the fastest car in all of Accra," he announced with grave importance. Mr. Mensah offered a genuine smile that reached his eyes, crinkling the corners. "I can certainly see that. It looks very well loved," he replied warmly, his tone encouraging and kind. "Can you tell me why you are selling such a special item as this? A car this fast must be hard to part with." The boys exchanged a quick, silent look, a conversation passing between them without a single word. It was Kwame who answered, his voice barely a whisper, but filled with a heavy sadness. "Our mother, she is very sick. We're trying to get enough money to pay for all the medicine that she needs right now." Mr. Mensah's kind face immediately softened with empathy. He looked from Kwame's worried expression to Kofi's determined one, and then back to the toy that represented all their hopes. He reached out and gently touched the toy car, his large hand dwarfing the small object. "A car this special must be very expensive," he observed kindly. "Play along with their story." "Yes, sir," Kofi confirmed, puffing his chest out with youthful seriousness. "It costs a great deal." Mr. Mensah let out a soft, warm chuckle before he reached into his pocket and took out his wallet. He didn't just pull out a few bills. He produced a thick stack of Ghanaian cedis, far more than any toy car could ever be worth, leaving the boys staring in complete and utter disbelief. "I believe this should be more than enough," Mr. Mensah said softly, placing the incredible sum of money into Kofi's small, shaking hands. "I will buy your car from you, but I have one very important condition you must agree to first." The boys stared, momentarily speechless, the weight of the bills in Kofi's hand feeling impossibly heavy. "You must promise me," he continued in his warm, gentle voice, "that you will use this to get your mother all the help she needs. Then you must promise to work hard in school and grow up to be good, honorable men." Both boys nodded enthusiastically, tears of immense joy and overwhelming relief finally welling up in their eyes and spilling down their dusty cheeks. But just as the incredible transaction seemed complete, Mr. Mensah did something even more unexpected. As he prepared to leave, he reached into his suit jacket and pulled out a small, crisp business card, handing it to them. "When your mother is well and back on her feet," he told them, his eyes full of sincere promise, "I want you and her to come and visit me at my restaurant. I think I might have some weekend work for two strong, hard-working boys, where you can learn a new skill and earn money properly." This was the true gift he offered them, one that went far beyond the money that would solve their immediate crisis. It wasn't just a quick fix to their current problem. It was a strong, steady bridge to a completely different future than the one they were facing. He wasn't just giving them a handout. He was offering them the dignity of work, the promise of stability, and a genuine, tangible opportunity to change the trajectory of their lives. He was offering them a hand up, not just a handout. Kofi and Kwame could only stare, their eyes moving from the stack of money to the pristine business card, and back to the kind, smiling man who seemed like an angel sent directly to them. They were so overwhelmed with gratitude that words failed them. Instead of a simple thank you, they did the only thing that felt right. They simultaneously wrapped their small arms around his legs and gave him a huge, heartfelt hug, their relieved tears soaking into the fabric of his expensive trousers without him minding one bit. As Mr. Mensah drove away from the curb a few moments later, he glanced in his rearview mirror at the image of the two boys clutching the money in his card, jumping up and down in absolute, uncontainable celebration on the busy sidewalk. On the polished passenger seat, next to him sat the small, worn wooden car. It was a simple object he certainly didn't need, but it was now a powerful symbol of hope, resilience, and kindness, a treasure that he knew he would cherish for the rest of his life. So why did this successful man do it? Mr. Mensah had a secret that he rarely shared with anyone. Decades ago, he was a boy just like them, growing up on a dusty, unforgiving street not so different from this one, coming from a family that had absolutely nothing. He was not born into the world of luxury sedans and tailored suits. He had fought his way there from the very bottom, and the memory of that fight had never left him. He vividly remembered the sharp, persistent pain of hunger in his belly and the deep, burning shame of not owning a proper pair of shoes. Most of all, he remembered a profound feeling of helplessness he felt while watching his own loving mother struggle day in and day out just to provide a single meal for him. These were not distant memories. They were scars on his soul that shaped the man he had become and guided his most important decisions. He never forgot the day a kind shopkeeper saw his hunger and gave him a piece of fruit when he had no money to pay. That one small, seemingly insignificant act had planted a seed of hope in his young heart, a belief that goodness existed in the world. He vowed in that moment that if he were ever in a position to do so, he would pay that kindness forward. In Kofi and Kwame, Mr. Mensah saw a reflection of himself, and helping them was his way of honoring the desperate little boy he once was. The twins didn't walk home that afternoon. They ran. They flew through the vibrant, noisy streets of Accra with their feet barely seeming to touch the ground. The city's usual cacophony of sounds now transformed into a triumphant victory song celebrating their success. They burst into a quiet hospital room, their faces absolutely glowing with a mixture of breathless joy and profound relief, their energy filling the sterile space with life and hope. With trembling hands, they placed a stack of money and the wonderful news of a better future directly into the waiting hands of their beloved mother. Her weak, tired smile transformed into a look of deep, tearful gratitude as she listened to their story. It was not just for the money that would pay for her recovery, but for the unbelievable kindness of a total stranger, and, most importantly, for the overwhelming, incredible, and selfless love that had been so beautifully shown by her two young sons. It is moments like these that truly remind us of what being human is all about. It isn't just about the act of giving. It is about the power of connecting with one another on a much deeper level. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to see more content that celebrates compassion. Your wonderful support helps us find and share these incredible stories of hope with the entire world. The story of Kofi and Kwame quickly spread to their neighborhood like a powerful ripple of hope. True to his word, Mr. Mensah gave them weekend jobs at his popular and busy restaurant. There, they learned about the value of hard work, the importance of responsibility, and the strength of teamwork. With proper medical care, their mother made a full and complete recovery, and their family's lives were changed forever by this single, transformative act of true compassion. This story teaches us all a powerful lesson about life. Real wealth is not what you have in your bank account, but what you carry inside your heart. It is not about fancy cars or expensive things. It is about seeing humanity in other people and realizing that we are all deeply connected. One small act of kindness can create echoes that last for generations. Mr. Mensah didn't just buy a toy. He invested in a family's future and restored their hope. He reminded us all that even in a world that can seem harsh, compassion remains the most powerful and valuable currency that we will ever have. What did you think of Mr. Mensah's incredible act of kindness? We would love to read all of your thoughts in the comments section below. And please, let us know who believed in you when nobody else did. If you felt truly inspired by this story, please take a moment to like this video. Be sure to share it with someone who might need a powerful reminder of all the goodness that still exists in the world. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that are guaranteed to restore your faith in the power of humanity. We appreciate you being here with us today, and thank you so much for watching.